Zone TV, and we're really excited about tonight. And tonight we have Steve Hill. Hi, Steve. Thank you for joining us tonight.
I did read your book, and I absolutely love it.
You know, I'm running in first person. I really talk about my thoughts and feelings and questions that I was having. And if you've read the book, you know that I got into the field of paranormal research quite by accident.
Yes, absolutely. It was your trip to the cemetery, correct?
I came to do a little bit of genealogy work in the cemetery, and I was filming some headstones with a camcorder, and when I got home that evening, going over the footage to make notations on the information that I filmed on the tombstones, I discovered that there was a whispered voice on the audio of the camcorder, and what the voice had to say set me down a path I'll probably be able for the rest of my life. The voice whispered, "Pray for me."
What is it?
Pray for me.
So, I came in. It's not a lot of people like to do or talk about what it does. It equates the paranormal with religion. I came into this with a strong religious upbringing, as you know, Nancy.
Yes.
Reading the book. Now, we weren't Bible thumpers and fanatics, but I grew up in a household that every Sunday, you went to Sunday school growing up, and then you went to church, and if there was anything going on in church that evening, you went to that too. So it was just a situation here where I couldn't help but equate religion and the paranormal, because the first EVP saying, "Pray for me," really set the tone. And so I had to look at it from maybe a religious standpoint. It's kind of like politics and religion. They don't want to cross those two streams, but in my case, it was inevitable.
So it's how come they are attracted to you? Why do you get so many responses?
Well, an empath, and apparently my empathy reaches across the veil. Now, one way I like to look at it, one analogy I give, and I'm not know what I'm talking about, but it's a good thing I've heard. I got that first whispered EVP that said, "Pray for me," on my camera audio. And I go back out there with the tape recorder the next day, and I'm going, "They said pray for me. Why did you ask for prayer? Were you talking to me?" So I come home, and maybe I've got another voice or a name that said another phrase. So I go back out there the next day, and I said, "They said knowledge could be painful." Was that a warning, prophecy, or what was that? So, from the spirit standpoint, let's try to look at it through the spirit side. I'm hanging around the cemetery. Why? I may not know. Maybe I'm trapping my earthly remains. Maybe that's because it's the last place I saw my family. I know that people come and go over the years. I try to communicate with them. No one seems to see me. No one seems to hear me. Then here comes this guy. And I say, "Pray for me." The next day, he's back out here with the tape recorder asking who asked for prayer. And he comes back the next day. If I say my name's Jubal, and he comes back the next day and he's asking Jubal, "Why are you here? Are you trapped here? Is this purgatory?" So, I've got two choices. I can lay around here for another 100 years and hope this fool comes back. Or maybe I can find a way to follow him. And that's what I think happened in my case. I was followed home in the cemetery. I didn't believe it myself at first. 5 years ago, if you'd have told me that I'd wrote a book about my experiences, and I've been researching voices of the dead in its various forms for the past 5 years, I'd have told you were crazy.
Were you successful when you first started getting EVPs?
It got better. At first they were whispers. I first get the EVPs, they were whispering, shadowy voices. My communication skills got better, and I found out that I would get more responses a lot of times if I didn't ask any questions.
So what'd you do? So you would just go into a location and just turn your recorder on and just be quiet?
Be quiet or just meander around, reading the tombstones. I'm a taphophile. Are you a taphophile already?
No.
What is
You know
that?
what a taphophile is?
No. Tell us.
It's not anything dirty, so you can look it up. The definition of the taphophile is simply someone who enjoys cemeteries. You might like to read epitaphs, you might enjoy cemetery art on the tombstones. You may be an avid genealogist, and you may just feel at peace there, like I always did when I started recording voices. But it's just that's what a taphophile is. And I'm sure there are many of us out there who would be watching this show right now. If you enjoy taking a recorder or whatever you do in the cemetery, then that makes you a taphophile. But as Gabrielle explained to me, and I think anytime, whether you're using a Ouija board or a ghost box or an EVP recorder or 2 cricket cans and a string, you're an invoking spirit. And I think once spirit finds out that you have some way to hear what they're telling you, then they won't communicate with you. At least that's what I found.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of, have you seen the movie Ghost Town?
Yes.
With the comedian?
Yeah.
And once the spirits find out, they can see him and hear him.
Yeah.
Then they all follow.
Congregate.
That's you, Steve.
So Steve, why do you think some people can get EVPs and some can't?
If you've got any kind of clairvoyancy, sensitivity, mediumistic qualities about you, in my case, I had no clue to begin with, and still don't half the time, but I think it makes all the world of difference. Some people in the group, I know the teams out there, a lot of people listen to this, you got people on your team, they always seem to get great EVPs. Maybe you're one of them, but, and then some people seem to hardly ever get any.
Now, with the team that we have now, we're getting EVPs like crazy. I mean, we can even hear them. They're talking to us without the recorder.
Yeah, disembodied.
But before this wasn't happening to us until we're together now, and there's some kind of energy, and we're just getting them like crazy. We never did before.
Well, then, who knows, that's on my theory, and that's what I was told to do.
Do you think that these spirits get frustrated when they keep talking to you? Because when you play your recorder back, then you have their voice on there. But like during the day when you don't have your recorder on and they're talking to you, do spirits get frustrated?
Oh, absolutely. What I've learned in my journey and my research is that spirit seems to surround us all the time, Noreen. The ones that act out for attention or out of frustration and slam doors and knock on walls and pull on your shirt, whether your name from another room. Those are the ones when we turn as ghosts, I believe.
Okay, now sometimes when we're all together and we're doing live shows, we're getting whispers. They are talking, but they're not clear. So if they want to communicate with us when we're all together, why can't they talk more clear so we can hear them?
Well, that's one of the reasons I research. Why can't they not? With the technology out today, one real prime example is the newer, the RT EVP ITC recorder. Now, and some other recorders for this as well. You can put your headphones on, put the unit in record, and then you can turn the volume up and actually hear what it's recording. It'll amplify it many times over. And that allows us to hear many of the electronic voice phenomena in real time. The RT even has a playback, delay feature. You can set it from 1 second up to a minute. For example, if I'm doing an EVP session and I say hello, well then if I've got the recorder set for say 3 seconds, delay, in 3 seconds, I'm gonna hear my voice come through that headphone, a lot of it. And then you can really hear the responses with that delayed playback feature. Because you're actually listening to your voice,
Okay, now that,
listening for any possible response.
we have an RT recorder, but we can't figure out how to use it. Can you, now, are you able to add speakers to it so we can use the recorder? And if they do talk to us, we'll be able to hear on the loudspeaker, or can you only use the earphones?
Well, the problem you're gonna have on the delay, using that feature is that if you hook it up with a set of speakers, is you're gonna get feedback, from the headphone. But if you're, well, all I do,
He's got a job.
I've got a Windstopper 57 chat catch in real time.
Now, Steve, you said you use the Ghost Box as well?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
So tell me, now, that's just, all that is an AM, FM, and it scans, but you really believe that those spirits are talking through that ghost box?
Yes, I do. I've got some loaded up here. I'm gonna try to play it. Scott let me hear it.
Okay.
I've got some files, and I consider them validation files.
Some people
And it's maybe where I ask them to repeat something.
But Steve,
Repeat it back.
so do you think that, okay, so you believe in the ghost box, and you think that's proof that they're talking to you through that ghost box?
Well, it's proof to me, and while we're talking about proof,
It's not,
find some scientific evidence.
Yeah.
Prove it scientifically, no.
yeah,
Can I ask a
exactly.
question? On the ghost box, hi, I'm Bella, Steve. I just want to ask you a couple questions if I can.
Helen,
Bella, I wanted to know if you have ever, because my thinking is voices come through, but how are you certain who they're coming from? So have you ever used it specifically for a person where you knew those answers were accurate, that you could validate that information?
yes, if you go on YouTube channel again, Windstopper 57, and look at Kate's Ghost Box session. My group did my paranormal research. We don't actively go out seeking cases. We love to do haunted locations, such as Mountain Prison, on South Pittsburgh Hospital, Camden Battlefield, places like that. But when we do get contacted, we do several a year. If I decide to take the case, we do try to, I don't want to know any information going in. Back to this Kate's Ghost Box session, I went to this lady's house. She contacted me a year and a half ago, I guess it was. And she wanted me to come in because she felt like she'd been experiencing things in her home. She felt like something wasn't right. There was some kind of activity going on in her home, so I tell her up front. Don't want to know any family names.
Okay.
She said, okay, I'm going to tell you any. So I go to her house. Her and I sit down at the table. It was just her and I. They say never go alone, but right then the schedule's allowed. I was the only person that could go at this time. And, a lot of people realize you really have to shift some schedules around to get even 3 or 4 people after a residence like that at the same time. But so I got there by myself. The ladies, this was shot with her camera, that video. She set her camera down, and I started the session. I let her write the questions.
Oh, good.
Bad.
Okay, good.
And she wanted to know, who's with Kate. So that's the question I asked. Who's Kate? Is there anybody that stays with Kate? Now, I got the name Ruth probably about 15 times. Some of them very, very clearly. I mean, I was saying, okay, so the person that's answered me when I asked who's around Kate is Ruth, And I got several validations on that, very clear.
Mhm.
The lady that called herself Ruth, I asked if she had a message for Kate. Now, Kate's writing me questions, not me, it's her question.
Right.
The answer was, I missed them. At that time, I realized I was talking to her deceased mother.
Mhm.
And, you know, I said, well, tell us who Ruth is, Kate. She said, Ruth is my mother.
I have another question. Before you got your first EVP, had you been visiting graveyards in the past? Was that always a part of you?
I always thought they were peaceful places. You know, the church I thought about growing up at, and it's got a great door beside it, great door across the road, and it's a very old cemetery.
Right.
The section across the road, they have a section that goes back to the early 1800s, and then they've got a newer section where it's still doing burials.
Be a possible connection that by visiting such a place for long periods of time in your life, you're kind of building relationships, so to speak, with that energy field. And putting yourself in those circumstances repeatedly, I think, can make a difference as well.
I agree with you, but, you know, never knowing or never looking at it from a paranormal angle, because,
Right. You didn't know.
until I got that first EVP, I didn't even know what an EVP was.
Right.
You know, I had no aspirations of becoming a paranormal investigator or electronic medium or, you know, whatever you want to call me. But you know, in my writing a book, and I do believe that everything happens for a reason, because, you know, I often think if I had missed that first whisper, pray for me, EVP, on that camera audio, which it would have been easy to miss.
Right.
I wasn't listening for audio so much, I was looking at the, you know, the visual on the video for information. If I'd have missed that, none of this would have ever happen.
Right. And changed your life.
I wouldn't be sitting here talking about my book, that's for sure.
Okay, Melissa wants to know, have you ever tried to read to them or play music? Have you ever asked when they passed on?
She asked about the music. I play a little bit of guitar in my home studio one day, and I got out my 6 string, and I wanted to try a little experiment. And I started to play, but what I noticed was right before I played the first note, there was a whispered EVP, and it said, play. The last note, it trailed off on the audio. The same voice says, good. One night around midnight, I got the feeling I wasn't alone in here. Wife was in bed, sound asleep in another room. I got the RT on, put my headphones on again, or just enough time. I said, hello. And I got this female chuckle.
Oh,
Really?
I'm telling you, I cut that dang thing off with a bed.
Hey Steve, have you ever gotten an EVP in a foreign language?
Not that I know of. I know people that have, and I've got one in my own voice.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard about
Out of the
that.
cemetery, it came in my own voice, and matter of fact,
Wow.
I didn't even realize it was EVP at first, because I thought it was me bumbling something. But then when I went back and listened to it again, I didn't say what it said. It's even got my heavy southern accent.
wow.
Yeah, I've heard of
What do
that.
you think?
Yeah, I've heard of that. Where it
What's-
sounds
what's-
like a
I was
voice.
standing, as close as I can determine at the time it was recorded, I was standing by a Korean War veteran's grave, and the EVP in my voice says, "You're playing, Colonel," just like that. And
Wow.
So do you
I've
think
never picked that one out, because I know I did not say that.
that they're mimicking you?
I
Or
think it's possible.
or do you okay
Uh,
sorry.
I think it's possible they can mimic us. I've heard other people had basically the same experience. You know, share that with me, that they've got to be either their voice or another investigator's voice, and they said, well, wait a minute, when this was said, did you say whatever this was? The guy says, no. Then they go back and check their timelines, and the guy says, hell, I was outside.
Wow.
This was
Wow.
on your house, you know, so I've had other people kind of relate that same experience, which I think is pretty cool. And that makes you wonder, because in my book, I talk about a demonologist that I've never met in person. Thank God, sister, if you're listening, no offense. But in her view, she's a Greek Orthodox nun. And in her view, everything's a demon.
Wow,
And
that's
just
sad.
slamming doors, making your shirt, whispering voices, knocking on the wall, making your dog growl. It's a demon. And I don't know who I was more afraid of, or the fear of having the demonologist have to come to my house, which never happened because she lived in another state. But, you know, that can be a pretty spooky thing. You know, this person you're asking for advice, and they're saying, oh, they're all demonic. So that leads you know, if I can get that EVP in my voice, her theory is, those aren't children you recorded.
But
The demons presented themselves as children.
don't,
But I don't share that belief. I'm not a nun, number one. Number two, I don't really think that, you know, that everything you run into is demonic. I know there's some pretty crotchety old spirits over there.
Does he believe in demonic
And I call them dark energy.
Dark.
You do?
And we have
Around
we have dark energies around us in our present life. I mean, you're going to have a mix of everything wherever you go. They're just beings, and they're not going to necessarily change because they change locations. So I think you get it all.
Well, I write about in the book a voice that I think he still comes around so while. I refer to him as the dead comedian. He's always got something smart to say.
And he probably was that way when he was alive.
Steve, have you ever tried to Steve, have you ever tried to contact a celebrity?
Walter Cronkite, who I've watched on TV all my life, when he passed away, I had a hack box at the time. You know, I've got some purpose-built boxes now, but at the time all I had was a hack box and a shack hack, and just for a giggle, just like 2 days after he passed. And I mean, I didn't disrespect. I do everything I do with that much respect, but I just said, Walter Cronkite, if you're out there, could you say something? And the only thing I got in reply to that was a little laugh. It was like, ha ha. And I said, that sounded like Cronkite to me, but you know, I can't say it is.
Yeah.
You know, I never claim proof, only possibilities. But you know, if you're looking for scientific evidence, if you're on a team that only use a scientific method, then I bet there ain't nothing on your evidence page. Because as far as science is concerned, there is no evidence currently accepted.
Steve, have you ever asked a spirit when they died and how they died?
Oh yeah.
Do they respond?
It's hard to get. If you'll
Why is that?
go on there, again, I hate to keep referring back to my YouTube channel, but if you go on YouTube, look at Ghost Box Session at OFPH, that's on Southwest Hospital. When I did back there last April, they've got a room there that they call Ed's Room in the hospital. Of course, it's an abandoned hospital, but the caretakers call it Ed's Room. Well, why they call it Ed's Room? I went in there last April with a ghost box. That is also on my YouTube channel again. And I asked, what's your name? And I got the very clear reply, Ed Lentz. And how did you pass? His answer very clear, cancer. Back to Halloween, I've got one of the files we'll play for you here in a few minutes. And I asked, do you like all the people here? And who I assumed was Ed, because I asked who's here, he said Ed. I asked him repeated, he said Ed. I said, you like all the people here? He said, no. So maybe we were disturbing him.
How can you be certain of who or what you're speaking to? What is the distinction for you?
Well, you can.
Right.
I know that when I ask them to repeat something, they clearly repeat it.
But
I'm thinking that it's accepted by science as evidence of the paranormal in any way, shape, or form, and then maybe I'll have something to shoot for. But until then, scientific evidence in reference to the paranormal is pretty much oxygen.
Can I have your take on orbs?
The definition of orb is
no.
What is your take on them? What do you feel?
believe?
Yeah.
What do you believe about orbs?
well, I believe a whole lot of them does, but who am I to say that some of them, spirits can manifest as energy in a ball of light, and hell, they might be ghosts. I don't know. I'm just saying, I believe I've recreated a lot of orbs just for my own research. Dust will make an orb. Moisture do fall and make orbs. Now, when you're in a cemetery and you get an EVP and the orb's in the same picture at the same time the EVP comes in, it makes me wonder a little bit. But again, science can't prove their spirits, just like I can't scientifically prove I'm communicating with spirits. I can only tell you what they tell me, but science can't prove I'm not either. So, who am I to say? I'm not a scientist. That our voices and flesh and no children present are going to carry through the wall and get on these recorders and sound like what's recorded here. So doing this passive EVP session, after 30 minutes we came in, me and my team, we reviewed the recordings of the audio of the recorders in an empty house. And this is what we got on one recorder. See if you can hear this. You ready? Let me turn it up just a little bit.
No, actually, it's louder now.
It's loud enough?
Yeah.
Okay. One more.
What's it saying?
Well, you can, I know I can definitely hear a child's voice. Sounds like a little girl. Now, what I think you're saying is I don't want anybody stabbing Debbie. And then she says the name again, Debbie. I went back 2 weeks later, did the same thing. Saturated the house with recorders. Left for 30 minutes, locked the house up. See if I can get the second to play at the bottom of it. See what's the deal is here. No, it's not going to let me play. I'm saying, check, make sure I've got the right audio device, so I'll probably get something here by accident.
I think I have,
Anyway,
I might have a couple of yours right here.
okay, you want to try to play? Go ahead.
Hi, Gina.
Okay, that was a validation file. That's where I just asked them to say something or say hi in this case to a lady. There's a radio show called Public Voices Radio. The producer of that show's name is Gina. She had me on a few weeks ago, and I recorded this validation file. We sent her to play on the show, so you can get that one to play.
Okay, here we go.
You say hi, Gina.
Oh,
I heard that.
oh, that's awesome. I have another one here. It says, "Is there a heaven?" Is that one yours?
Yes, that's mine. Is there such thing as heaven? Is there such thing as heaven?
What does he think it says?
Is there such thing as heaven?
What is that playthrough
I
of?
thought I heard a yes on that.
Just couldn't make out. It was more than one syllable.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on Skype on my end. I can't hear anything but a bunch of...
Do you remember what the answer was?
Melissa heard yes.
Yeah,
I
they
heard.
just said yes.
Oh, Melissa heard it.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
Melissa
that's
heard
good.
it.
Okay.
We assume you have dogs. Do you have dogs?
He has,
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, because we're hearing barking every now and again. I just want to make sure you have dogs.
Well, they're not barking here.
Okay.
We've been hearing a dog bark.
On and off throughout this
We have.
conversation with you, there's been every now and again a dog, what sounds like a dog barking, and I just kept going, oh, he has a dog. Then I thought, well, I should check and shouldn't assume.
The funny thing is-
We're
I'm
hearing it
trying
on
to-
our side with our ears,
oh, there it is.
and you're obviously not hearing it.
No,
Interesting.
obviously
Well, you
not.
got a dog with you.
Oh.
On our last investigation, I had a dog visitation,
Here.
so. Oh, it
Because
might
of
be our
this-
doggy from St.
St.
George
George.
Hotel. Come back with us.
Yeah, you know, when we were at the St. George, we picked up a dog barking. You guys picked up a dog barking on the voice recorder.
The Star Mansion too.
And then
we clear
when
about
when I went to bed at night, the dog, I actually felt him run across my body, and I could see him in my mind's eye, and the next morning, come to find out, my friend in the room above me described the same dog in detail as what I saw. So maybe our doggy likes us.
Melissa
That's
heard
very
it.
cool.
Melissa heard it.
Oh, great,
So
great.
it's-
A
that's
viewer
very
heard it
cool.
as well. That's wonderful.
You know, again, I'm not trying to sway or convince anyone. I always tell people, you know, make up your own mind, and like I had to make up my own mind that yes, these things are real, and yes, they do want to communicate.
Yeah, yeah.
Steve, do you think that there's a danger in doing EVP work?
Yeah, you can be followed home. I know that. You know, you can have the hell scared out of you.
But is it dangerous other than that? I mean, is it dangerous?
Well, I mean, you know, what about the looting? Some of these places we go, abandoned places, you gotta be careful that there's not a wino laid up in there somewhere, you know, that's gonna cut you through. That's dangerous. As far as danger, I'm sure those are out there who would disagree. I think I'm meant to do this for a purpose. So I don't really worry about the dangers. You know, if I was, I wouldn't do what I do.
Do you think
I'm
by
afraid of it.
do you think by doing the EVP work that you can bring in other bad spirits along with it?
Dark energy, yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever
But I
had?
believe I have a lot more fear.
Just now.
I have more to fear from living than the dead. I will say that.
Have you had any problems in your home since you've been doing EVP work? Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had to have your house blessed or have you had to have your house blessed or exorcised because of the problems with the EVPs?
Yes, I did my own house blessing with guidance from the demonologist nun and a Catholic priest that I also talk about in the book, who I met here, and he just gave me guidance. And the demonologist, okay, she was scary. You just have to read the book, God.
Yeah, it's all in here, guys.
I consider a do-it-yourself banishing. And you know, human spirits, I believe, are a free will, and you're not going to get rid of them with religious provocation. But if demons do exist, then they're supposed to be susceptible to that. And so, you know, better safe than sorry.
Steve, now demons have a name and I don't want to know what they are. Somebody tried to tell me what they were and I said, do not tell me, I don't want to know what their names are. But they have gotten, they've done EVP work and the demons' names have come up.
Scary.
So, what is that all about? Why would a demon give you their name?
You know, I don't know know if it's a demon, maybe it could be another entity, masquerading
That's what
is one of the all-powerful demonics. I don't know. Or maybe he's just there to screw up your life, and then he wants you to be sure to let you know who's doing it. I don't know.
I know,
I
I
have all
moved
the
it.
answers. Oh, there goes the commercial.
How are we getting a commercial?
I don't have all the answers. That's
We're not,
the
he
reason
is.
I do what I do. You know,
It's
my
too
motto
close,
for keep
Nance.
my paranormal
I know, I'm
is,
working on it, it's
you know,
so
our
delayed.
mission is to find answers for ourselves and others, and maybe experiencing unexplained activity.
Yeah, well, that's what I was asking you earlier, if, because my feeling is that, yes, that when we do go into a location, I believe that the spirits can read your mind, and I believe that they want to give you what you want, and because you're trying to connect with somebody on the other side, and because these spirits are all loving, most of them are, and they care about human beings, I believe that they're going to give you what you want. So if you're trying to connect to the other side, I believe that they're going to give you that. That's my belief.
Well, too, I believe also, you know, what are you looking for? If you go out into this and you're looking for something bad, then I believe that that's probably what you're going to find.
That's what you're gonna attract.
Yeah, it's a law of attraction.
Yeah. I think
You
we're,
know, that brings up another thing, provoking. I never provoked in any way, shape, or form. I'm not sure what the hell we're doing. And, you know, especially on, you know, what just burns me is to see a team go out to a, you know, to a private residence where someone has called them in, trying to get help. And then they go in there provoking the spirit, trying to get results. Now, if they are experiencing activity, and you go in there and you piss this thing off,
Yeah, it's gonna make it worse.
then the investigation, you get to go home.
yeah.
The poor people that called you, that scared out of their wits,
Yeah,
have to stay there and live with it.
Right.
Right. Okay,
You know, that's one reason.
so I got all the EVPs downloaded. This one here is the child EVP in the empty house.
So we go back and we try this passive EVP session for the second time with the same residence. And if you want to play that, sounds to me like the same. Sounds like the same little girl's voice to me, and you know, and people say, well, what does that prove? Well, what it does is it gives the lady that called me some form of data to support her theory that yes, she was hearing a child's voice that wasn't her 8-month-old son's voice. So that's what it did for her, is give her some kind of, you know, in this case, evidence and data collected to support a theory, gave her some kind of collected data to substantiate her claim of hearing voices. That, yeah, okay, here it is. This is what he recorded in here twice. Now I know I'm not losing my mind because here it is on this recording out of my empty house. So, and another reason I like to do the empty house passive session is that rules out any investigator voice being on that audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I turned on the radio. I said, you know, who created this box? And if you'll play the file, maybe they can hear it.
Okay, here goes. This box. It's loading.
You know who created this box? Yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
that was clear.
You know who created this box? Okay.
wow.
What are the odds that even though that is a one-word response, it's a name, it very clearly says Joe. There's no bleed through, no waiting a half hour to listen to say through all the bleed through that'll say Joe. It clearly says in a female voice, Joe, which is the correct name. The question just dictates that is not random.
Right.
And that, I try to get away from the bleed through.
Uh-huh.
And if you play that last file, I believe I sent you the final echo.
Yeah, okay, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay. When we say echoes, Thank you.
One more time.
You say echoes. Thank you.
That was awesome. Oh my God.
Well, I'm asking you again. You can hear the voice repeat the word echo, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Does that sound like a professional DJ?
No. Not to,
No.
not to me.
Sounded a little creepy.
Did you hear any bleed through between the time I asked a question and the time it repeated what I asked you to say?
No. No.
All percentages dictates that's not random. I'm sorry, you can sit here and argue you blue in the face. I'm not saying it's proven. I'm just saying that's not random.
Right, right.
So I believe there is some form of intelligence.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
doesn't wish to communicate, right?
I've noticed that in certain circumstances where we've started a session and we haven't exchanged our names in the room, particularly at Cal Neva when we were in all these small little rooms, the fact that we were getting EVPs and they were repeating my name and my name hadn't been mentioned said something powerful to me, because how would they know my name?
You read your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
know that.
that's very impressive to me.
Yeah, or they saw us or heard us.
No, but I'm saying we entered that room and hadn't said my name.
Oh, right, right.
So they're pulling that name out, not from our conversation.
Gotcha.
So that in itself is proof that they are picking up information on us beyond just what we verbalize.
Yeah, little things like that.
I've been
Validate.
working with a woman for the last 5 years, and she professionally communicates to the other side and can help people connect and give information. And what she has discovered is also they can be in more than one place at a time. There's no limitations. So this information bleeding through, from one location to another person's life in another location is not surprising. There aren't the limitations like we have here. And I believe some beings are stuck at the level, some level, a lot of times through trauma and confusion, or some don't even know they're dead. And then there's those that have been able to cross to higher levels and have the ability to come back and forth and communicate. So I think we're basically just scratching the surface here, and hopefully
Exactly.
with the amount of people increasing and pursuing this, we're going to be able to scratch deeper and deeper and discover more and more.
There's just a lot of unanswered questions, but I'm just going to have to say, guys, that I do believe there's something to this, and also, the ones I deal with, the ones that are asking for prayer, I've had them say, help us, cross us, release us, save us, free us. I can only equate that to family spirits for whatever reason. They're here and they're wanting to get to, I guess, a higher form of existence or another plane.
What I've been taught is that when they pass, at the time of passing, for whatever reason, if they don't cross, it takes a great deal of energy, and there's energy available at the moment of death, and a lot of times they're either confused, or they've had a violent death, or they're very attached to still trying to control circumstances here on earth. Whatever reason, they choose not to, because we have free will wherever we are, afterlife or here. They need assistance. So like when we go on an investigation, if I pick up, I always try to offer that opportunity, and when there's a collective amount of people, there's more energy, and they can't do that on their own. So we really do need the energy of more people than themselves to be able to do that. And I mean, it's their choice, but by just offering that is a way that they can do it. I don't think they necessarily do it alone.
But then why can they communicate with one person in the room when there's not a bunch of people?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, you said they need energy from other people
when they're trying to cross over. Because it takes a great deal, it's all about vibrational frequencies. And so their frequency is at a denser level. And so when humans come in, especially with intention, which you receive through prayer, when there's a focused intention like that, I mean, that has been proven measurably that the vibration will raise. And so it's just like tapping into an energy source that, like, you need so much gas to get somewhere. They don't have enough gas alone, and they don't know how to get that. But when people make themselves available, like you're doing when you do prayer, and we all do when we're collectively together, then they have that opportunity available to them if it's offered.
Okay, Steve just sent me another EVP. You want to explain?
Yeah, well, in this particular file, somebody asked for prayer, I asked this prayer what you desire. And if you can play that, and hopefully, especially the word at the very end of that clip is so clear, pronounced. I don't say I could be random.
Okay, all right.
Is prayer what you desire?
Wow.
Is prayer what you desire?
Hey Steve, do you have any EVP work where you've carried on a conversation with another spirit and you actually get sentences back?
With the recorder, usually with the recorder, you're going to get these one-word answers, sometimes sentences. The children video I got on YouTube, they're speaking whole sentences.
And that's with the recorder? That's with the recorder.
I'm hearing them at the time. Excuse me.
Was that with the recorder with the children?
Yes.
Okay.
But of course, I'm not answering them back. They're saying whole sentences. I'm not answering them back because this was on an analog tape recorder, and I didn't hear them. I remember recording.
Oh, they're just rattling on, yeah. I've noticed sometimes when there's more than one in the room, they'll be having conversations. I'm certain they're talking about us because it's as if they're not directing you can tell when they're directing they're speaking towards you, and you can tell when they're having, just like people at a party, you can tell when they're talking to your face, and you can tell when they're in having their own conversation with somebody else in the room to the side. And I've noticed that going on too, which is interesting.
Yes. I have recorded them seemingly talking amongst themselves.
Right. That's really fascinating, I think.
Yeah, it is a fascinating hobby, we'll call it.
What do you think is the easiest device energetically for them to be able to communicate?
I think the standard EVP is much conclusive on the digital recorder or tape recorder.
Yeah, I do too.
Because, we're not using a device that is susceptible to any type of bleeding through, such as the IPC device. Now, I recorded a little girl one time talking. She said, "Let me talk." And I says, "Oh, I hear my." She could actually hear her own voice.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank
you
you.
so much. It was a real pleasure. Thank you.
It sounded like we were getting voices from his end
Yeah.
We were
coming through.
but he wasn't hearing them, and we
No.
all heard. I don't know if the viewers could hear.
Yeah, Melissa heard the dog bark.
But more than once, we were
Yeah.
picking up voices and barks and sounds coming through. So I think definitely you got visitors, Steve.
Either that or
I think he
it's
has,
here.
yeah, it could be.
Could be.
It could be here.
If there's anybody in the audience, if you have any EVPs that you would like to share, send them to me at PZTVNancy. No space or anything, all lowercase. I'll type it in to Skype. To me, EVPs is the best evidence,
Me too.
to me.
It's the most,
Even though there's nothing scientific to back it up, even though there could be other possibilities, but when you get a direct answer to a direct question,
it's very validating.
And it's something that everybody can hear or everybody can experience
physical.
themselves. It's not like, sitting and listening to somebody say, oh, I'm hearing from your great aunt Susie,
Yeah.
which may very well be true, but this is something people can hear with their own ears.
Right.
Now, I was
think that
telling,
that's-
now see, Karen is the expert on dowsing rods, and I was telling Karen that we did an investigation last year at the historic Star Mansion in Vallejo. And I was telling Karen that when I played it back, when I played back, I used my headphones, and when I played it back, there were at least 8 occasions where you were using your rods and asking questions, and Lewis had his recorder, and the response on his recorder when he
They were
played
matching.
back was either yes or
Yes
no,
or no.
and her rods responded with the exact same response. And it happened at least 8 or more times.
At the same time.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's cool.
That's
Yeah,
very cool.
so,
That's very validating.
yeah, and I've always wondered about that, and I have that at the Star Mansion.
And we should
So,
play that,
yeah.
That
Isn't an
needs to be-
EVP from Chris Maggard? Go ahead and play it. It says, Melissa, I think you're dead. They don't run. Ooh. Okay, well, here we go.
That was very
I
quick.
just got chills.
And
Right.
the spirit voice, from what I'm gathering, is saying, I think they're dead. They don't run.
So is they're talking about the people recording and collecting
Yeah.
EVPs?
So-
So they're
what they're
talking
saying
amongst
is,
one another.
The humans are dead.
I get it.
We're alive and the humans are dead.
Okay,
I
that's
love
cool.
it. I love
That's
it.
cool. Because
Who's
on
to
the other
say,
side.
because, I mean, these are just different dimensions.
Yes.
We perceive as death, when you get there, doesn't necessarily feel like death.
Well, that's what we always
That's the
wondered,
question.
that we're on a different vibration or level
Right.
than the dead people, so the dead people probably think we're dead and they're alive.
Sure.
Maybe that's how it is.
Actually, this was done during setup. Melissa always carries a voice recorder during setup. She sent it upstairs. And what we heard from the client, that there was a little girl, which we did some research and found death records on her. Her name is Lacey, and she died in the 1800s from a disease. So it's been reported from the whole family that they see this little girl running around the house all the time. I have a friend of mine who does, he works for video forensics and audio forensics.
Wow.
And I sent it off to him,
Good friend.
and he broke it down and says it's on a different hertz level than normal human hertz level, which is it's lower than our voice.
That was really good,
Yeah.
really good.
That's a great one.
Thank you. Earlier they were talking about scientific research.
Yes.
Are people saying we do things in a scientific manner? I agree that this is not a scientific field. I use scientific techniques for my research.
Okay.
So maybe that's where some people are not wording what they should be wording correctly. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
Like I use a lot of the sites for magnetic poles to see if there's fluctuation of magnetic poles in the earth. I use the NASA sites for the study of the polar or the solar energy that comes from the sun and whatnot. See if that affects and different techniques. You know, measurement of air and water, whatever. You know, like humidity and stuff. Everything that goes into place. So I guess that would be the scientific aspect of things, opposed to, you know, because we're not scientists. So
Right, right.
you know, so I use techniques.
So,
And, like last night. Go ahead.
so have you found any correlation to certain solar flares or position of the moon or type of weather? Is there any perfect condition for activity?
Did you hear that again?
You know, I would say let's do it out of 100 cases. And 100 cases I studied, let's say I did some research on a perfect day. 75 degrees outside, humidity is set at 25 point, the barometric pressure is set at 25.60. Solar flares, there's none that's being pushed out from the sun. Magnetic poles, the earth is just level and calm. And I've gotten a lot of activity. But when there's been some shifts in the poles, sometimes out of that 100, maybe 5 cases, they have been more extremely high energized. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, yes.
So
And that's true,
I
that
just
that
try
is
to see.
a scientific technique. I would agree that that's a scientific technique, or a scientific, I don't know, approach, maybe.
Approach is good, because you're looking at all factors, not just tunnel vision, which is really smart.
It's good, very
Very
good.
thorough.
I'm going to go on an interview. I've been talking to my mom and my sister about it, and they're finally ready to do it in a silhouette, though. I'm going to interview them. I'm not going to make a mini documentary on why this field of research is not for fun and games.
Right.
Because when I saw it happen to my sister, and I almost lost her because of it. And well, then when it happened to me, and I had to have 3 different priests come in and bless me, bless my home, and throw all my items away for a fear of attachment. Both my parents' houses burnt down because of this thing. No proof on that house was burned down because of it, but it's just kind of coincidental.
Yeah,
I want people to be aware, when you're going out there and you want to become an investigator researcher, please be aware of what you're getting into, because sometimes you might not like the results.
And also to be aware of there's protocols to follow, and we always do protection, and there's a consciousness that goes with it, and a responsibility, and when you leave. So again, you're right, it's not to be taken lightly, and you really do have to know what you're tapping into.
I'm so humbled for you guys letting me come on here and sharing the EVP and
Oh my.
tell my story. Well, I love you guys, and you're awesome.